Every whisper, every carefully worded statement, every awkwardly timed no comment.
Don't ever say what you said. That's a nasty question.
It's not just noise. It's not background statics. It's not filler between the charts. It's positioning guidance. That polite, polished little quote from the Treasury Secretary on CNBC that you ignored because you were too busy scrolling past market memes on X, that was a market tell. Now let me show you something. Here you can see a simple USD JPY chart, not much to do with it, a simple candlestick chart. This is what most traders see. A chart, a simple collection of red and green sticks where they try to force a pattern they learned from a PDF they overpaid. Now, watch what happens when we add a little thing called context. Look at that. Two different people, same underlying message. They're not just talking randomly, they're telegraphing. If you knew how to read that, you could have traded it. In fact, right after that, a trade deal with China was announced and USD JPY rocketed.
After productive talks in Geneva, both sides now agreed to reduce the tariffs imposed to 10% for 90 days as negotiators continue on the larger structural issues.
Now, if your brain is doing that little bathroom wheel thing right now, trying to make sense between a trade deal and a currency pair, that's okay. It's all about risk sentiment. We've made multiple videos on that. The point is, the clue was right there, in plain sight, dressed up as boring news. And decoding this stuff is not about complex algorithms. It's about asking the right questions. Questions like, who said it, why are they saying it now, and what's the context? You think the Federal Reserve Chair just wakes up and decides, you know what, I feel like casually dropping a hint about the future monetary policy over my morning avocado toast. No, every word is better tested, focus grouped, and deployed with an agenda. And while half the market is standing at a 5-minute chart trying to find a double bottom to trade, the smart money is out there, quietly listening to those seeds, and their positioning, getting set. Because when the news hits, the retail trader, the one who reacts, just became the extra liquidity for the person who anticipated. You've seen this movie 100 times. We all have. You heard the phrase, buy the rumor, sell the fact. It sounds so simple that it trips up 90% of the market. Because they get the timing wrong. They buy the loudest part of the trade after the fact. And sometimes that's the right thing to do. Yes, there are certain news events that are so unexpected or so extreme that no one managed to position before the announcement, and so those moves tend to have legs, so to speak. They continue even after the announcement, with little to no pullbacks. But very often, the hint is there well in advance. And so it's important to anticipate rather than react most of the time. So, you want to trade like a pro. Here's how to read the news. Now, it's easier said than done, but it's also easier than just not knowing what you're doing. So first of all, know the key voices. Not every talking head is a market mover. Most are just noise, designed to fill airtime. You need to know the key players, the Federal Reserve Chair, the Treasury Secretary, the President, and so on and so forth. Second, track the frequency. One comment is noise.
We could go into a series of rate cuts here.
Two comments are maybe a coincidence.
I think it's totally fine. It's expected. It's the right thing to do to just bring the rates down to...
3 or more comments from different but related sources. That's a coordinated strategy. The market is being prepped.
A majority of us do feel that will be appropriate in the remaining 4 meetings of the year to begin to reduce rates again.
Think about it like this. Your wife says,
you know, Paris is supposed to be beautiful at this time of year.
Okay, random comment, you ignore it, filing on the things women say. But a week later she says,
my colleague just got back from Paris and she said the vibe was spectacular.
Alright, that's true. A coincidence, maybe, could be, or maybe she's messaging something. Then a few days later more, you walk in and she's watching Emily in Paris. That's it. That's a signal. It's not random anymore. It's a flight plan. You're going to Paris. Third, analyze the evolution. This is the subtle part. Understand the evolution of the opinions, of the comments from an individual. If someone that is usually tough on China...
China's not easy. China has been ripping off the United States for many years.
Starts saying that they are confident a trade will be reached.
I think President Xi is a very smart guy, and I think we'll end up making a very good deal for both.
That comment from that source is down. Or let's say a Federal Reserve official just usually calls for higher rates. Suddenly they start calling for rate cuts. That's an interesting revolution we're paying attention to. If a hawk suddenly talks like a dove, that's a signal. But let me walk you through this. Imagine for weeks, various ECB officials talk hawkish. They mention resilient growth, high inflation, they need to be patient on rate cuts, classic hawkish talk. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve in the US is more cautious, talking dovish, hinting about an upcoming rate cut, at how inflation is moving fast toward target. All the dovish talk. At that point, with this context, your fundamental bias is set. The ECB, the European Central Bank, is hawkish, and the Federal Reserve is dovish. The path of least resistance for EUUSD is up. You're fundamentally programmed to be a buyer. Now you go to your charts, you ignore every sell signal, you don't care about that bearish divergence, you don't care about that pin bar resistance, you're waiting patiently for a technical setup that screams buy. A break of a key level, a rejection from a supply zone, a break in market structure, whatever. When he appears, you act. Not because a simple technical line was crossed, but because that technical trigger perfectly aligns with the fundamental story that is building behind the charts. Now, easier said than done. Of course, it takes time and experience to keep track of all this, but that's what we have the private network for. So you can get insight from professional traders who know how to read the news flows and do the heavy lifting for you. And also, this is exactly what we walk through in plain sight on our public Telegram channel. So here's the takeaway from this whole video. Price is truth. It tells you what is happening. But the news flow, that symptom, that tells you what is going to happen. So, if you finally understand a bit more about fundamental analysis thanks to this video, hit that like button below because that tickles the YouTube algorithm to push out our videos to more traders that need to be awakened to this type of information.